Stop before you do anything else today. I need you to hear this. You are going to die. I know, that's uncomfortable. That's shocking. But stay with me for just 1 second because what I'm about to tell you in the next 20 minutes might be the most important thing you hear all year. Here's a number I want you to remember: 30,000. That is the average number of days a human being gets to live. Not hours, not minutes, days. 30,000 days to laugh, to love, to build something, to become someone. And here's the part that should wake you up right now. If you are 30 years old, you have already used 11,000 of those days. Gone. Forever. Never coming back. So let me ask you something. What are you doing with the ones you have left? Because most people spend their entire lives saying one dangerous word, and that word is someday. Someday I'll travel. Someday I'll start that business. Someday I'll tell them how I feel. Someday I'll finally live the life I want. But someday is a lie. Someday doesn't exist on any calendar. Someday is just another word for never. By the end of this video, you will have 13 powerful strategies to stop wasting your life and start truly living it. And I promise you this, if you stay until the very last minute, you'll discover the one insight that will change how you see every single day from this moment forward. But if you leave early, you'll go back to the same routine, the same days blurring together, the same feeling that life is passing you by. So make a decision right now. Stay with me. Your future self will thank you. Welcome to the channel where we don't just learn English, we learn how to live it. Let's begin. Chapter 1: The Time Illusion. Tell me if this sounds familiar. When you were a child, summer felt like it lasted forever. A single afternoon could feel like an entire world. You had time to be bored, time to explore, time to just exist. But now, you blink and another year is gone. January becomes December before you even notice. You keep saying, "Where did the time go?" And the answer is shocking. Your brain stole it from you. Here's the science. Your brain measures time by recording new experiences. When you were a child, everything was new. Every day was a discovery. Your brain was constantly recording, constantly engaged, constantly alive. And because of all that recording, time felt slow and rich and full. But as an adult, you wake up at the same time, you eat the same breakfast, you take the same route to work, you watch the same shows at night, and your brain looks at all of this and says, "Nothing new here, nothing to record, skip it." And just like that, days become weeks, weeks become months, and months become years that you can barely remember. This is called time blindness, and it is silently stealing your life. But here's the beautiful part. You can hack this system. Take a different route to work tomorrow. Learn one new skill this month. Have a real conversation with a complete stranger. Cook a meal you've never made before. Visit a place you've never been. Each new experience forces your brain to wake up and pay attention. And when your brain pays attention, time slows down again. Life becomes rich again. And here's something else that will change how you plan your goals. Most people massively overestimate what they can do in a single day, but they catastrophically underestimate what they can do in a full year of consistent effort. This is why people quit too soon. They expect everything to change in a week. When it doesn't, they give up, never realizing that if they had just kept going, the next 12 months would have transformed their entire life. Remember this: don't judge your year by your Monday. Chapter 2: The Art of Saying No. Let me ask you something honest. Are you busy or are you productive? Because these two things are completely different, and most people confuse them their entire lives. Being busy means filling your hours with tasks. Being productive means filling your hours with the right tasks. And knowing the difference, that is one of the most valuable skills a human being can develop. Here is a powerful exercise I want you to try right now. It's called the deathbed test. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself at 90 years old, lying in bed, looking back at your entire life. From that perspective, what actually mattered? That extra hour you stayed late at the office, or the evening you spent with people you love, that argument you kept replaying in your head, or the moment you forgave someone and finally found peace. Suddenly, priorities become crystal clear. Here's what the most successful people in the world understand that ordinary people don't. Knowing what not to do is more valuable than knowing what to do. So here's your exercise. Write down everything you want to achieve this year. Everything. Now look at that list carefully. Circle the top 3 most important things, the 3 that would genuinely change your life. Everything else on that list, that is your avoid list. Not forever, but for now, because your energy is limited, your attention is precious, and trying to do everything means doing nothing well. Think of it like compound interest, but for your life choices. Small daily investments in the right priorities multiply over time into extraordinary results, but small daily investments in the wrong priorities, they also multiply into regret. Social media, mindless busy work, saying yes to everything because you feel guilty saying no. These are not just distractions, they are thieves. They steal the hours that belong to your real priorities. Ruthlessly eliminate the non-essential. Your time is too precious for anything else. Chapter 3. Relationships are bank accounts. I want you to think about the most important relationships in your life. Your family, your closest friends, the people who matter most to you. Now ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you made a real deposit into those relationships? Because here is the truth about human connection that nobody teaches you in school. Relationships work exactly like bank accounts. Every genuine compliment, deposit. Every time you remember something small about someone's life, deposit. Every moment of real presence, real listening, real care, deposit. But every time you only reach out when you need something, withdrawal. Every time you cancel plans, withdrawal. Every time you are physically present but mentally somewhere else, withdrawal. And just like a real bank, you cannot keep making withdrawals if you haven't been making deposits. The account will go empty, and empty accounts don't just close quietly. They close with pain. Most people think big gestures are what build strong relationships. An expensive birthday gift, a grand romantic gesture, a huge favor when someone is in crisis. But here's the counterintuitive truth. Small daily deposits matter more than occasional grand gestures. A random text just to check in, remembering that someone had a difficult week and asking how it went. Being the person who shows up not just for the celebrations, but for the ordinary Tuesday afternoons. These small moments, these tiny consistent deposits, this is where real love lives. And here's something that science actually proves. Shared difficulty builds stronger bonds than shared pleasure. Going through something hard together, a challenge, a struggle, a difficult time, creates deeper connection than any celebration ever could. So stop waiting for the big moments. Start investing in the small ones, today. Chapter 4. Your career is not a ladder. Most people imagine their career as a ladder. You start at the bottom, you climb up. You reach the top, simple, linear, predictable. But here is the reality of modern careers. The ladder doesn't exist anymore. Today, a career is more like a jungle gym. You move sideways. You move diagonally. Sometimes you even move backwards before you can move forward. And every single move builds a unique combination of skills that eventually makes you completely irreplaceable. Here's one of the biggest career mistakes I see people make constantly: optimizing for money too early. In your 20s and early 30s, don't ask which job pays the most. Ask which opportunity teaches me the most. Every new skill you develop in your early career is like a lottery ticket for your future. You don't know which ticket will win, so collect as many as you can, because money follows knowledge, always, without exception. And here's something that will make you uncomfortable. Comfort is career quicksand. That job where you already know how to do everything, where nothing challenges you, where every day feels safe and predictable, that is not security, that is stagnation. And the longer you stay, the harder it becomes to leave. The moment you stop growing is the moment you start falling behind. And here's a final secret about career that most people never discover. Your procrastination projects often reveal your true passion. That thing you find yourself doing instead of your actual work, that hobby you keep coming back to, that topic you can't stop reading about, pay attention to it, because it might not be procrastination at all. It might be your future calling your name. Chapter 5. Your health is your foundation. I want you to imagine two versions of your life. In version 1, you have all the time in the world, but you are exhausted, sick, and mentally foggy. Every task feels like climbing a mountain. Every decision feels impossible. Every relationship suffers because you have nothing left to give. In version 2, you have slightly less time, but you wake up every morning with energy, clarity, and strength. You think sharply. You feel deeply. You show up fully for every person and every moment in your life. Which version do you choose? Because here's the truth that most people learn too late. Health is not just about living longer. Health is your life's force multiplier. Every other area of your life, your relationships, your career, your creativity, your happiness, either improves or suffers based on your physical and mental health. Let's talk about sleep first, because this one is critical and most people get it completely wrong. Sleep is not laziness. Sleep is not weakness. Sleep is literally your brain's superpower. While you sleep, your brain processes memories, repairs itself, and prepares you for everything tomorrow requires. Without proper sleep, your decision-making is as impaired as being drunk. That promotion you want, that relationship you're building, that goal you're chasing, they all depend on a brain that is functioning at its very best. Now here's something simple but powerful that most people overlook: micro workouts. You don't need a 2-hour gym session to change your health. 10 push-ups in the morning, a 15-minute walk at lunch, 5 minutes of stretching before bed. These small movements add up, day by day, week by week, month by month. Your body was built to move, not to sit in a chair for 8 hours staring at a screen. And here's the most important connection of all. Physical movement creates mental clarity. Next time you are stuck on a problem, don't stare at the screen harder. Don't drink more coffee. Stand up, move your body, take a short walk. I promise you the solution will come. Chapter 6. How to learn anything faster. Want to know the single fastest way to deeply understand any subject? Teach it to someone else. This is called the teacher effect, and the reason it works is fascinating. When you know you have to explain something to another person, your brain doesn't just memorize the information. It organizes it. It connects it. It understands it at a completely different level. Most people wait until they feel like an expert before they try to teach anything. But that is exactly backwards. Your struggles as a beginner make you a better teacher than an expert, because you still remember what's confusing. You still remember what questions need answering. An expert has forgotten what it feels like to not understand. So share what you're learning, talk about it with friends, write about it, explain it out loud to yourself. You will learn faster than you ever thought possible. Here's another learning secret that sounds almost too simple: read biographies. Each biography gives you an entire lifetime of experience, wisdom, mistakes, and lessons in just a few hours. Want to avoid the biggest mistakes in business? Read about entrepreneurs who failed. Want to understand what real leadership looks like? Read about the world's greatest leaders. You get a lifetime of experience for the price of a few hours of reading. And here's the final learning insight that might sound strange: stay deliberately bad at some things. The smartest learners don't try to be good at everything. They are strategic about what they master and what they intentionally ignore. This keeps your brain flexible. This keeps your ego humble. And this protects your energy for the things that actually matter to your life. Chapter 7. The 90-Second Secret. Here's a piece of science that will change how you handle every difficult emotion for the rest of your life. When you feel a strong emotion, anger, fear, jealousy, frustration, the chemicals that create that emotion in your body last exactly 90 seconds. 90 seconds, that's it. After those 90 seconds, the chemical reaction is complete. The emotion begins to fade naturally, unless you make a choice to keep it alive. Because here's the truth. While you cannot control the first wave of any emotion, you absolutely control the second wave. You cannot stop yourself from feeling angry when someone says something hurtful, but after those first 90 seconds, you choose whether to stay in that anger or let it go. Think about emotional regulation as a superpower. Raw intelligence might get you a job, but emotional regulation gets you the promotion, the relationship, the respect, the life you actually want. Because people trust those who can stay calm in chaos. People follow those who don't lose themselves in difficult moments. And here's something that most people are afraid to hear about difficult conversations. Avoiding them is like choosing to pay interest on emotional debt. That uncomfortable conversation you've been postponing, that small issue you keep ignoring, every day you avoid it, the interest compounds. What started as a small problem grows into a massive one. What could have been resolved in 10 minutes becomes a wound that takes years to heal. Have the difficult conversation today while it's still small. Chapter 8. The money trap nobody warns you about. Let me tell you the most dangerous financial trap in modern life. And it's not debt. It's not bad investments. It's not even poor spending habits. It's called lifestyle inflation. Here's how it works. You get a raise. Suddenly you feel like you deserve a bigger apartment, then a better car, then nicer clothes, then more expensive restaurants, then better vacations. And before you realize what happened, you need every single dollar of that raise just to maintain your new lifestyle. You're earning more than ever, but you feel just as financially trapped as before. You're running faster but going absolutely nowhere. This is the treadmill of modern life, and most people never step off it. Here's the question that will reframe how you think about money forever. Would you rather earn $100,000 working 80 hours a week, or $70,000 working 30 hours a week? Because your true hourly rate isn't just your salary divided by your hours. It includes everything you sacrifice for that money: your health, your relationships, your freedom, your peace of mind. And here's a distinction that the truly wealthy understand deeply: the difference between buying objects and buying experiences. Most people spend money on objects: bigger TVs, newer phones, more clothes, faster cars. Objects that lose value the moment you buy them. But experiences appreciate in value. That trip you took 3 years ago, you still talk about it. That concert, that adventure, that moment that took your breath away, it becomes more valuable every year because it becomes part of your story. Rent objects when you need them. Invest in experiences whenever you can. Your future self will be grateful. Chapter 9. Creativity on Demand. Let me destroy one of the biggest myths about creativity right now. Creativity is not a gift. You are not born with it or without it. Creativity is not about waiting for inspiration to strike you like lightning from the sky. Creativity is a faucet. When you first turn it on after a long time of not using it, what comes out? Rusty water. Brown, ugly, unusable water. That's your bad ideas, your terrible first drafts, your embarrassing early attempts. And most people turn off the faucet the moment they see the rusty water. They say, "I'm just not creative. I don't have good ideas. I'm not talented enough." But here's what they don't understand. You need the rusty water. The rusty water has to come out. It is clearing the pipes. And if you keep the faucet running, clean, clear, beautiful water will follow. Your best ideas are hiding behind your bad ones. Here's something counterintuitive about creativity. Constraints don't kill creativity. They fuel it. Give someone unlimited time, unlimited money, unlimited options, and watch what happens. They freeze. They procrastinate. They feel overwhelmed. But give someone a deadline, a limited budget, a specific challenge. They get creative. They get resourceful. They get brilliant. Shakespeare wrote in strict poetic structure. Some of the greatest films ever made were produced with tiny budgets. Some of the most innovative companies in history were started in garages with almost nothing. Constraints are not your enemy. They are the pressure that turns coal into diamonds. And here's the final creativity secret. Never try to create and judge at the same time. It's like trying to drive with one foot on the accelerator and one foot on the brake. First you create, you produce, you make things. Then and only then you judge, you edit, you refine. Create first, judge later always. Chapter 10. Energy is everything. I need you to hear this clearly. Time management means nothing without energy management. You can have 24 hours in a day, same as everyone else. But if you are running on empty, exhausted, burned out, and depleted, those hours are almost worthless. Because you cannot do meaningful, powerful, life-changing work when you have nothing left to give. Think about this for a moment. Would you rather have 8 hours of genuine, focused, energized work, or 12 hours of slow, foggy, barely functional effort? Quality always beats quantity, always. Here's an exercise that will transform how you design your life. Do an energy audit. For one full week, notice which activities give you energy and which ones drain it. That morning walk probably gives energy. That 2-hour meeting that could have been an email definitely drains it. That friendship that leaves you feeling exhausted and empty every time you leave, that is an energy vampire, and you have permission to limit it. Most people believe the solution to low energy is more willpower. Push harder, try harder, be more disciplined. But here's the truth. Willpower is a muscle, and like every muscle, it gets tired. The smartest people don't rely on willpower to maintain good habits. They design their environment so that good choices happen automatically without needing willpower at all. Put the gym bag by the door the night before. Remove the junk food from the house entirely. Turn off notifications during deep work hours. Make the good choice the easy choice. And here's the most underrated productivity insight of all. Recovery is not laziness. Rest is not weakness. Doing nothing is not wasted time. Recovery is how you multiply the value of all your other hours. The athlete who never rests doesn't perform better. They get injured. The same is true for your mind. Rest strategically, recover intentionally, and watch how much more powerful your active hours become. Chapter 11. Build your community before you need it. Here is one of the most important pieces of life advice I will ever share with you. Build your community before you need it. Because when you need a community, it is too late to start building one. Real social capital isn't about how many followers you have. It's not about how many business cards you've collected. It's not about your LinkedIn connections or your Instagram numbers. Real social capital is about genuine relationships built over time through 3 essential ingredients: time, vulnerability, and shared experiences. You cannot shortcut any of these 3 elements. Real connection requires all of them. Here's the formula for friendship that most people miss. The best relationships are not built in big, dramatic moments. They are built in the small, quiet, ordinary moments. That random text to check in when you weren't expecting anything back. That cup of coffee with no agenda. That moment when someone remembered one small detail from a conversation you had months ago. These small moments, this is where real friendship lives. This is where real community grows. And here's the insight about networking that will completely change how you approach it. The best networkers are not collectors. They are connectors. They don't go to a room asking, "What can I get from these people?" They go asking, "Who in this room should know each other? How can I connect two people who would genuinely help each other?" When you make yourself the bridge between people, something extraordinary happens. Both people remember you. Both people trust you. Both people want to help you in return. Give without expecting. Connect without calculating. Build your garden carefully, patiently, one small act of nurturing at a time. Chapter 12. Think in levels. Here is a hard truth about why some people keep making the same mistakes over and over again, no matter how intelligent they are. They are playing checkers while life is playing chess. Checkers, you look at what's directly in front of you. You see the obvious move. You make it. Chess, you think several moves ahead. You ask not just what happens next, but what happens after what happens next, and after that. This is called second-order thinking, and it is one of the rarest and most powerful mental skills a human being can develop. Most people think one step ahead. They ask, "If I do this, what happens?" But second-order thinkers ask, "If I do this, what happens? And then what does that cause? And what does that eventually lead to?" Here's a simple example. First-order thought, "I should work late every night to get ahead at work." Second-order thought, "If I work late every night, I'll get ahead at work. But I'll also damage my health, miss my family, lose sleep, reduce my creativity, and eventually burn out completely. Is the short-term gain worth the long-term cost?" Second-order thinking doesn't just change how you make decisions. It changes how you see the world. And here's the insight that ties this all together. Knowledge is not power. Understanding is power. Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is technically a fruit. Understanding is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. Stop collecting facts. Start collecting patterns. Start asking why things happen, not just what things happen. Because when you understand the pattern, you can predict the future. And when you can predict the future, you can shape it. Chapter 13. Design your life on purpose. Most people don't design their lives. They accept them. They take the job that's available, not the one that's meaningful. They live in the city that's familiar, not the one that excites them. They maintain the habits they fell into, not the ones they consciously chose. They measure their success by society's standards, money, status, possessions, not by their own. And then one day, they look up and wonder how they got here. They feel like life happened to them rather than through them. But here is the truth that changes everything. Your life is not something that happens to you. It is something you actively, deliberately, intentionally design. And designing your life doesn't mean having a perfect plan. In fact, here's what most people get completely backwards. They overvalue planning and undervalue testing. They spend months, sometimes years, thinking and preparing and waiting until everything is perfectly figured out. But you cannot think your way into the right life. You have to test your way there. Start small. Run tiny experiments. Try one new thing for 30 days. Have one difficult conversation. Apply for that opportunity even when you don't feel ready. Move toward what excites you, even one small step at a time. Here's something beautiful about change. Tiny adjustments create massive results. You don't need to overhaul your entire life tomorrow. You just need to change one thing today. One small win creates momentum for the next win, and the next. And slowly, almost invisibly at first, your life begins to transform. And here's your final challenge. Design your own metrics. Stop measuring your life by what society says success looks like. Start asking what success actually means to you. Maybe it's time with people you love. Maybe it's creative work that lights you up. Maybe it's the freedom to wake up each morning and choose how you spend your day. Maybe it's leaving the world slightly better than you found it. Whatever it is, define it. Write it down. and build your life around that definition, not someone else's. Now let's pause for a moment and focus on the English you've been absorbing throughout this entire video, because you've just been listening to powerful, real, native-level English for the past 20 minutes. And now, I want to make sure those words become a permanent part of your vocabulary. This is your vocabulary power section. Number 1, someday. Meaning, an unspecified time in the future that may never actually arrive. Example, someday I'll start that business, is what people say when they don't actually intend to start. Memory hook, some plus day equals a day that never comes. If it's important, it needs a real date, not someday. Real-world usage. Native speakers use this word both genuinely and as gentle sarcasm. Yeah, someday often means probably never. Number 2, time blindness. Meaning the inability to sense time passing accurately, leading to poor time management. Example, his time blindness made him consistently late for every meeting. Memory hook, blind equals can't see. Time blindness equals can't see time passing around you. Real-world usage. This phrase is increasingly common in psychology and productivity discussions, especially related to attention and focus challenges. Number 3, lifestyle inflation. Meaning the tendency to increase spending as income increases, leaving you no better off financially. Example, despite her promotion, lifestyle inflation meant she still lived paycheck to paycheck. Memory hook. Inflation means things expand and grow. Lifestyle inflation means your expenses expand every time your income grows. Real-world usage. Extremely common in personal finance discussions. Native speakers also say keeping up with the Joneses to describe the same idea. Number 4, compound interest. Meaning interest calculated on both the initial amount and the accumulated interest, causing exponential growth, also used metaphorically for habits and skills. Example, the compound interest of reading just 10 pages a day transformed his knowledge over 5 years. Memory hook, compound equals combined. Interest grows on top of interest, creating a snowball effect. Real-world usage. While originally a finance term, native English speakers now use this phrase for anything that grows exponentially through consistent small actions. Number 5, force multiplier. Meaning something that dramatically increases the effectiveness of everything else. Example, good health is a force multiplier. It makes every other area of your life more powerful. Memory hook, force equals power. Multiplier equals makes it bigger, something that makes your power multiply. Real-world usage. Originally a military term, now used widely in business, self-improvement, and strategy discussions. Number 6, energy vampire. Meaning a person or activity that consistently drains your mental or emotional energy. Example, that meeting was a total energy vampire. I left feeling completely exhausted. Memory hook, vampires drain blood in stories. Energy vampires drain your enthusiasm and motivation instead. Real-world usage, very common in casual conversation. Native speakers use this phrase with humor but genuine meaning. Number 7, second-order thinking. Meaning considering the consequences of consequences, thinking beyond the immediate results of a decision. Example, second-order thinking would have shown him that the short-term gain wasn't worth the long-term damage. Memory hook, first order equals what happens next, second order equals what happens after that, going one level deeper. Real-world usage, common in business, investing, and leadership discussions, a phrase that signals sophisticated analytical thinking. Number 8, ruthlessly eliminate. Meaning to remove something without hesitation, mercy, or second-guessing. Example, she ruthlessly eliminated every commitment that didn't align with her top 3 priorities. Memory hook, Ruthless equals showing no mercy. Eliminate equals remove completely, removing things with zero hesitation. Real-world usage. Native speakers use ruthlessly as a strong intensifier to show extreme decisiveness. Very powerful phrase in professional contexts. Number 9. Deathbed test. Meaning, a decision-making method where you imagine yourself at the end of life to evaluate what truly matters. Example, before accepting the job offer, he gave it the deathbed test and realized money wasn't what he'd regret missing. Memory hook. Imagine your final moments looking back. Would this choice matter then? If not, maybe it doesn't matter now either. Real-world usage. Used in philosophy, life coaching, and motivational contexts. A vivid phrase that native speakers find immediately memorable. Number 10. On autopilot. Meaning doing something automatically, without conscious thought or awareness. Example, she realized she'd been living on autopilot for years, going through the motions without really choosing anything. Memory hook. An airplane autopilot flies without a human actively controlling it. Living on autopilot means moving through life without conscious direction. Real-world usage. Extremely common in everyday English. Native speakers use this for both literal and figurative situations. There you have it. 10 powerful phrases that educated native English speakers use in real conversations every single day. Write them down. Use them this week. Make them yours. All right, let's bring everything home. Remember that number I gave you at the very beginning of this video, 30,000. That is all the days you get, not a single one more. But here's what I want you to understand now that you couldn't fully understand at the beginning. Those 30,000 days are not equal. A day spent on autopilot, doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts, avoiding the same fears, is worth almost nothing. But a day where you make one new experience, have one genuine conversation, take one small step towards something that matters, learn one new thing, that day is worth 10. You learned today that time perception is hackable, that saying no is a superpower, that relationships are bank accounts requiring daily deposits, that your career is a jungle gym, not a ladder, that your health multiplies everything else, that creativity is a faucet you simply have to keep running, that energy management matters more than time management, that community must be built before it's needed, and that your life is not something that happens to you, it is something you design. But here's the one insight I promised you at the very beginning, the one thing that changes everything. The problem was never that you didn't have enough time. The problem was never that you didn't have the right information, or the right opportunity, or the right moment. The problem was that you were waiting. Waiting to feel ready, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for someday. And now you know, someday is not coming. The only moment that has ever existed, the only moment that will ever exist is this one, right here, right now. So here is your assignment, not tomorrow, not someday, today. Pick one idea from this video, just one, write it down on paper right now, and commit to acting on it within the next 24 hours, not perfectly, not completely, just one small step. Because your habits become your days become your years, and your years become your life. Make today count, not because you have to, because you choose to. And that journey begins with your very next decision. If this video spoke to something real inside you, do me one favor. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. Because every single week, we go deep on topics like this, learning real, powerful English through ideas that actually change how you think and live. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and answer this question. What is the one insight from today's video that hit you hardest? Which chapter made you stop and think? Tell me. I read every single comment, and I will respond to you personally. Also, if you want to keep this momentum going, I have put a video right here that I think you need to watch next. It continues exactly where we left off today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to invest this time in yourself. I'll see you in the next one.